I'm Jay Taylor. I'm the editor of a newsletter called Jay Taylor's Gold, Energy, and Tech Stocks, and I'm here backstage at the June 18th Virtual Metals Investor Forum with Heye Daun, and he is the CEO, co-founder of Osino Resources. That's a company that I've started following about a year ago in my newsletter, and I follow it largely because I'm very impressed with the management, their track record. They've got some, I think, very substantial people that mean business. And so I'm really pleased to have Heye with me today to talk about and to help you see what I see in terms of the company's prospects. It trades OSI as a symbol in Canada, OSIIF in the United States, which is where I bought my shares. It's got a market cap of just a little bit under 100 million in Canadian money. So it's really good to have you here, Heye. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, and thank you for the generous intro, Jay.
Well, you have had a good track record. I want to ask you about that. But first, I'd like to ask you about Namibia. You know, I'm here in the United States, and a lot of people in the United States, I think the Europeans are more comfortable with African countries. But I didn't know that much about Namibia till I ran into you up in Vancouver a few months ago, a year ago or so. And Namibia is quite, I mean, it's a pretty safe country, as I understand it, politically, a good place to do business. But maybe just take a minute to talk about Namibia and why you're comfortable there.
Sure. I mean, the real reason I'm comfortable there is because I'm a Namibian myself. You know, I was born there, I grew up there. I'm of German descent. My folks are cattle ranchers in Namibia. And but, to make it to explain it to your listeners, you got to imagine it to be like Nevada. You know, it's a desert environment, it's sparsely populated, very safe, socially stable. People are friendly and open. So yeah, it's an easy place to operate, and it does have a long-established mining history. So yeah, it really is a good place to be.
It's a good place to do business. It's got the rule of law. It's a civilized country. People respect each other, and you can actually do business there. So I think those are important things to note. So let's talk a little bit about your management, your background, and who are the people behind the company, because that's one of the most important things. What track record? How has a management performed in the past? Because it's a pretty good indicator of what will happen in the future. So tell us a little about your management and the people behind the company.
So I'm the CEO and founder of that company. And I previously built another company in Namibia, which I ended up selling to B2 Gold. So I guess that was my initial track record. I built a company, and B2 Gold then built a gold mine, and it became very successful. Subsequent to that, I got involved in another story in Ecuador where I sold a company to Ross Beatty. And that's how Ross got to know me, and he became my cornerstone investor. And since then, with Ross's name and some of my own track record, we've been able to assemble a real blue chip group of shareholders which are supporting Osino.
So you're in Namibia. I believe that you're looking at a surface mineralization, a fairly significant footprint. Can you give our viewers a sense of the scale of the target, what you're looking at, maybe what you've accomplished so far, and give us an idea of what the scale is of this project, the grades. I believe we're looking at an open pit heap leach type situation. Is that right?
Open pit, yes. Heap leach, maybe. But certainly it's sediment-hosted mineralization. In fact, there are many similarities to the Carlin style of mineralization. So it's generally generally large scale, like multi-million ounce potential, but generally quite disseminated. So very continuous, but lower grade. Now, in Nevada, the big, well-known gold mines tend to be below a gram, whereas our grades are above a gram, between 1 and 1.5 grams per ton, open pittable, standard CIL type process. But yes, heap leach is an interesting proposition that we're going to be investigating for the lower grade portions of the deposit. So that's kind of, so we're looking for multi-million ounce potential.
So it's a possibility heap leach. Have you started some metallurgy on it yet? You've done some metallurgical work?
Yes, we have. So we've got a range of sulfides, which is normal in these kind of environments. And so the first test that you have to do is to see whether it's free milling or whether you potentially have refractory or metallurgical issues. Now we did that test work and we haven't put it out yet, but it appears positive. And then in the second half of this year, we're going to do very comprehensive follow-on met test work because we did make this discovery quite recently at the end of last year. But we're advancing very quickly into the resource stage and then the PEA stage, probably as early as the first half of next year. So that's why it is justified to do this sort of advanced level of technical work that I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. And so, can you give us an idea what the footprint is? How large is the target? As I understand, it's quite substantial.
Yes, we have about a 7,000 square kilometer ground position, so I think we are by far the biggest explorer in Namibia, and even comparing ourselves to the whole continent, we've got a very substantial land position. But within that, the key target, the Twin Hills Gold System, it's about a 15-kilometer surface footprint, so that's kind of the playing field. And within that, you can imagine it like a string of pearls. We've made one substantial discovery, and we're hoping to make more discoveries within that 15-kilometer mineralized footprint. There could be more beyond it, but that's where we're exploring at the moment. So to put that in perspective, it's the other two gold mines in Namibia. The one used to be owned by Anglo. That's about an 8 million ounce historical resource. And the other one, which is owned by B2 Gold, is about a 3 to 4 million ounce historical resource. Both of them had a surface footprint, that's quite a bit smaller than what we have. So that gives you a sense of the sort of size potential that's there. Obviously, these things don't get discovered overnight, and it takes a lot of drilling, but that's what we're doing.
When you talk about Carlin-style mineralization, I'm wondering, do you have this very large footprint, so you're obviously looking horizontally. There's no reason to go to depth, but is there depth potential on this thing?
Yes, for sure. So it is sedimentary hosted, structurally controlled. It's an orogenic setting. So in orogenic settings, you've got three things. You need the source rock, sedimentary rocks. You need the structures, which are the pathways that channel these mineralizing fluids, and then you need traps. The traps typically are structural traps. Now, that's the general architecture, but certainly ours is open at depth. We've currently drilled it down to about 160 meters vertical depth. But the drilling that's going on right now, which we haven't reported on because we haven't got the results yet, will also test the depth extension. So, in fact, going deeper is where a lot of the extra volume is going to come from. And
so what is your program through the rest of? How much drilling are you doing on your current program, and how well funded are you to carry out what your current plans?
So the current program is about 20,000 meters, which we plan to do this year. 20,000 meters of mainly diamond drilling, and then on top of that, maybe 5,000 meters of exploration drilling on some of the other targets on the rest of the portfolio. But we're quite well financed. We raised quite a bit of money, and in January we got about $12 million in the bank right now. So we're looking at accelerating that drilling and possibly doing 30,000 meters this year still. So it's a substantial drill program designed to leapfrog us from discovery to maiden resource and development stage within a year and a half from discovery. So let's say within 6 to 9 months from now, we want to have a substantial maiden resource, and I think that's within reach.
Interesting. Well, that certainly is. Now, most of the exploration companies that I follow are not planning to be producers, with some exceptions. Most of them aren't very good at it, but as I understand it, your skill set would allow you to take this through to production, right?
It will be driven by share price, to be honest, Jay. Ultimately, that's what we want to do. We want to add shareholder value. I think conceptually speaking, I'm with you in that I think building mines is best left to miners and not explorers. So we're an explorer. I mean, personally, I've been involved in building gold mines, so we could do it. But I think it would make sense at some stage to partner with an appropriate group. But it depends on value at that time. For now, we're de-risking the project, ticking the boxes to advance it to that stage as fast as we can.
Right. All right, so just in closing, what should people be watching for? I guess drill results, and you're saying a pretty fast track program to get your maiden resource, and what should what are the drivers that share price drivers that investors want to keep an eye out for?
I think definitely drill results, as you said, lots of drilling, metallurgical test work, confirmation of metallurgical test work. Maiden resource, I think elsewhere I've said Q1 next year. We're trying hard. It might come a little bit earlier, depends on our drill success. I think those are the key ones. Acquisition of surface rights, which will be a major de-risking step. And then even M&A, I mean, we have the neighboring gold mine next to us, might get sold later this year, which is going to shine a big spotlight on us. So that's quite a bit in 6 months, I'd say.
Yeah, indeed, and your share price has performed well since I picked it up, so I'm a happy investor. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.